crazy. And you're not lazy. And no, constant cravings, exhausting workouts, and hating the mirror is not your forever, especially not after 40, no matter what they've told you. Body freedom is stable energy, balanced hormones, eating carbs without fear of gaining weight, and feeling great naked. And that's exactly where this podcast is taking you. Welcome to the Body Freedom Podcast, where we dig into all things women's health and give you the real actionable tools to claim body freedom for yourself. Follow the show and leave a 5-star rating. It's how more women find us. Yes, I absolutely believe that emotional stress can make somebody physically sick. And I don't just believe it because I've studied it. I believe it because I lived it. Almost 10 years ago, I ended a 6-year-long relationship and engagement with a narcissistic man who spun webs around me in every argument until he got what he wanted. And I was so confused. I didn't even know what I was arguing about anymore. But let me back up. When we first met, anybody would have said he was charming and he was smart and he was driven. It was hard not to fall for his confidence, but it really didn't take long, looking back, to realize that it was an unhealthy relationship. Before him and I got together, I was in a really vulnerable state. And of course, this ultra confident, charming person, he felt that he could save me, or at least he wanted me to believe that he could. But what did I want in life? I wanted to be successful. I wanted the image of this power couple. I wanted the projected confidence that I think I was lacking. I was young. I was in my early 20s. And I think I was really struggling with self-love. I was really struggling with self-respect. I was struggling with self-image, that I think when somebody like this came along and showed me a glimpse of what life looked like from the outside, from the 30,000-foot view, because I think everything I had learned was from the outside. It was the validation from the outside, not from the inside. And I think that 30,000-foot view is what made me stay. It was easy to ignore the red flags when we were taking beautiful vacations. And, we looked like we had a life that everybody wanted. And I think I convinced myself of that because it wasn't like we argued all the time, and it wasn't like it was abusive in a obvious sense. I thought that people did argue, and this is just the way he did it. And I could kind of manage that, I guess. I think I spent way too much of my time. It was exhausting. I think that I always thought that I could fix him. We were in love. Maybe I thought that he would love me as much as I loved him eventually. And hey, I'm clearly a driven person. And I'm very goal-oriented. So give me a challenge and I'll rise to the occasion. As we got deeper into our relationship and we started renovating a house, so our exterior, wow, as I say this out loud, our exterior started to get stripped away a bit. We no longer had the beautiful house. We were renovating a new house and living in it. Money got tight. Of course it did. Then I still had to run a business and I, had to make sure that the mortgage was paid. And it was just like, now I wasn't managing him. I was managing everything. And my body, if I look back at pictures, my body was pretty inflamed before anything really started. As the relationship progressed and I started to subconsciously wrestle with this idea that I shouldn't be in this relationship anymore. I didn't want to make excuses for him anymore. So as I started wrestling back and forth with this idea of leaving, my body was very tense, very uptight. It got so loud. The discomfort in my body got so loud that when I made the decision to leave, I made it and it happened the next day. And it was like, I think I might have said it out loud to my mom. And she said, just wait, get your ducks in a row. Don't make moves yet. And it was like, once it came out of my mouth, it was like so much my reality that I just needed to move at that point. I physically needed to get out of that situation. I needed to cut the tie. I was there. I was ready. I had to jump in with both feet or else I was never going to do it. And when I ripped off that Band-Aid, it was like a rush of adrenaline. I was running on 10. I realized I still had a business to run. So I dove headfirst into my business. I was running on no sleep. I was so clear-headed. I was move forward, ignore what was going on at home, just keep going forward. I was working out. I had lost a ton of weight. I was so strong physically. I honestly thought that I was in the best place of my life. I was making phenomenal money. I thought that that's all I needed. I just needed my work. But then I realized I would go home at night and I was terrified. I was still living in a house with him. I was sleeping in a different room and he would come in the night to kind of badger me about where I'd been or what I was doing, knowing that I would have to go home to that. I made excuses as to why I wasn't going to go home. So 18 months of that. And I could finally get my own place. I bought my own house and I laid my head down in my bed for the first time. The wave that it was over, that I could block him from my phone, that I never had to deal with that again, that all I needed to do from now on was me and my 2 dogs and my cat. And I didn't have to answer to anybody. That wave of relief was probably the best feeling I had had in 2 years. But it didn't come without consequence, because as soon as my body, the rest of my body said, I cannot compensate anymore, we're done. I gained 25 pounds in 3 months. The salty and sweet cravings were wild. And all of a sudden it was like my brain was constantly back and forth. Do it, don't do it. Eat it, don't eat it. I couldn't control how I was eating and what I was eating. I dieted harder. Nothing changed. Constipation got worse to the point where every day I had to manage that. My anxiety was at an all-time high. When I did start dating again, there was just this dark cloud that was following me all the time. I wasn't clinically depressed. I had no problem getting up, going to work, being productive, doing the things I needed to do, working out. There was just something dark that was just always kind of following me. And as I'm actually repeating this story, I'm thinking to myself, man, for a number of years, I was managing another human. I was managing my own expectations. I was managing my own feelings. I was managing my own symptoms constantly. The amount of energy that I was putting into managing other things. No wonder my body got so unwell, because my capacity was full. And now I realize that you don't have to manage people that actually love you. You certainly don't have to manage the symptoms that you've been feeling. So when my body finally relaxed, it just crashed. Something that I'm grateful for is that when I was finally in my own house and I was physically safe, and clearly my body decided to shut down on me, it got loud and I had the time and the ability to address it. So I had gone to my doctor multiple times that year. And my doctor just continued to tell me that everything was normal. And nobody would believe that they are actually all connected. But my doctor said nothing was wrong. And 3 times that year, and every time I left her office crying a little bit, am I going to resign to this idea? This is the way life is supposed to look like. I was 33 and I remember talking to my girlfriend and telling her that this was going on. And she just was like, welcome to getting older. And I get that for a majority of my girlfriends, gaining weight and just not feeling 100%. All these things are so common, but I'm just so glad that I wasn't able to resign to this idea and just accept. And it's funny enough, that girlfriend of mine is actually a client of mine now, because she also came to the realization a number of years later that she didn't have to resign to the idea. Just getting older was the reason for feeling unwell. And I want to make the distinction between unwell and sick. You don't have to feel sick, like you can't get out of bed, to start feeling great. Just feeling off deserves your attention. And that, as I started to heal and the weight started falling off and the food noise disappeared again, I realized that it wasn't my willpower that needed more attention. It wasn't like I needed more motivation, like a new outfit or a vacation to motivate me. I actually needed some physical healing. I remember my gut labs came back and they were really off and everything was out of balance. And if I look back in hindsight, as I started to heal that, I actually started started having better boundaries. Looking back, when I really struggled with self-love and self-respect, boundaries was like my number one thing that I just didn't have. Boundaries are like your gut health. If you have healthy boundaries, you are going to be a more robust, resilient person in your life. You are going to say no to things that don't serve you, and you're going to say yes to things that do. And your gut is telling you all of those same things when it comes to the food choices that you make. When you don't have boundaries around what's good for your body displays symptoms. And it's probably the reason why I do what I do, because it's not all about health. Health is a passion of mine, but watching women thrive, like, that dark cloud I spoke about, when that dark cloud finally fucking lifted from my life because my body got well, all of a sudden life got really fucking good. And almost 10 years later, I feel happier, healthier, more vibrant. I have more vitality than I've ever had in my entire life. And it is like my proof that getting older doesn't mean shit when it comes to feeling absolutely fantastic in your life. If I could go back to 25-year-old Michele, would I tell her to leave that relationship? I probably wouldn't. I feel that I am finally in a place of being really grateful to have gone through something so awful that it brought me to a place where I understand I look internally before I look externally for anything. Ultimately, it's brought me the success that I have in love due to the lessons that I learned. It's brought me the success I have in business because I understand what health is now. Health to me is not about diet and exercise. Are those components? Absolutely. But health also looks like happiness. Health also looks like joy. Health also looks like not worrying about what you're eating every second of the day, or wondering what you're going to eat for your next meal, or attending a wedding and being nervous that there's not going to be anything that you can eat because you're feeling bloated all the time. Health is sacrificing a short period of time to get your body right, to get healed, to reset that metabolism, to get your fire burning again, so that you can live decades feeling fucking great. Eating without guilt, having a glass of wine without guilt, enjoying your kid's birthday without wondering if you're going to gain 5 pounds tomorrow. Having popcorn at the movies shouldn't derail your entire next week. Health is no longer about the outside, the 30,000 foot view. Health is about healing and trusting that your body isn't going to fall off track or go off the rails or get pushed off course just because you enjoyed a glass of wine. Your health could be scraping the floor and you can come back. It's going to suck for a minute and then it's going to get really fucking good. And then all of a sudden it's going to stick. And then for the rest of your life, you're going to know your body. You're going to trust your body. You're going to trust that your body is going to do everything that it needs to do because you have taught it how to heal. And that is the most incredible thing about the human body. So if you have been ignoring symptoms, so if maybe you're in perimenopause and you're starting to feel some of those hormonal symptoms and you're struggling with sleep or low libido or energy or weight gain, all of those are symptoms. All of those are information. All of those are your body trying to communicate with you that you need to investigate a little bit further, that actually lets those things disappear altogether. I am grateful for the emotional trauma that I have experienced throughout my life, for the way my body whispered at me at first, and then at some points was shouting at me. I'm so grateful that I listened. I'm so grateful that I didn't stop and just say, this is normal, or wait for a diagnosis to intervene. I started little by little asking better questions. There's always somebody beyond your doctor. And I really, really hope that you go beyond your doctor if they don't give you the answers that you're looking for. You cannot accept that feeling crappy is just normal for life. I'm so grateful that my body started to scream at me because it's actually what saved me. So if the question is, do I really think emotional stress can make someone physically sick? The answer is absolutely. I don't just think it. I know it because I've lived it and I see it every day.
That's a wrap on today's episode of the Body Freedom Podcast. And remember, body freedom isn't a fantasy reserved for women in their 20s. It's stable energy, balanced hormones, eating carbs without fear, and feeling great naked at 40, at 50, at any age. And every episode is walking you one step closer. Before you go, If you're not sure what's actually blocking your body freedom, take my free metabolism quiz. In just a couple of minutes, you'll find out exactly what's going on with your metabolism and what to do about it. The link is in the show notes. And if today gave you even one shift, tap follow and leave a 5-star review. It's genuinely how more women find this show and start claiming body freedom for themselves. I'll see you next week.